In this chapter, we will look after IPv4 address, assignment of static and dynamic IPv4 addresses, IPv4 address ranges, and its classifications, assignment of class D and E IP addresses for a host. So first topic is IPv4 address. IPv4 address is a 32-bit address. 32 bits are divided into 4 octets. IPv4 is represented in a decimal format by converting these octets from binary to decimal values. So generally from binary to decimal conversion is done if in a octet if all are 1, then each binary represent a decimal value. For example, if the last binary is 1, then it represent 1. If second last, then 2. Then if it is third, then it is 4. Then further it is represented from binary to decimal. 32, then it is 64, and this is 128. So if we want to convert this binary IP address to decimal, then it octet is converted from binary to decimal, and addition for the all digits is done to convert this binary into this decimal format. For example, this one represent 128, so 128 plus second digit represents 64, this 64, then this 128 plus 64 is 192. If we convert this IP address from binary to decimal, then it is a 128 plus this is the 32, then 128 plus 32 is nothing but the 164. This also converted from binary to decimal, then this represent the 4, this represent the 4, so this is the 4. If we convert this from binary to decimal, then this is nothing but 2 plus 1, this is the 2 and this is the 1, so 2 plus 1 is nothing but the 3. So in this way we can convert binary IP address to the decimal IP address. So in the next topic we will learn about how to assign the static and dynamic IP address to a host. In this slide, this is the static IP address. By selecting use the following IP address, we can assign the static IP address to a host. So we will see it practically. In my case, I am connected through Wi-Fi network. So to assign an IP address statistically, first we go to the network and internet settings. In this, I am connected through Wi-Fi, so I have selected Wi-Fi, then go to the network and sharing center. In this case, connection is Wi-Fi. Go to the properties, then select the IPv4 because I am assigning the IPv4 address. So in this case, by selecting this, use the following IP address, I can assign IP address statistically. For example, in my case, I assigning this IP address to this machine. Then based on the IP class, it assign the subnet mask automatically, and we have to also give the default gateway. So in my case, I am using this default gateway. So we can check this address by this run application through cmd commands prompt. Just put ipconfig, enter. So in this case, my current IP address is this 192.168.43.15, and subnet mask is 255.255.255.0, and default gate is 192.168.43.1, which we assign through statistically. Now we will see how can we assign IP address dynamically. So this is the dynamic IPv4 address assignment. For that we have to select obtain an IP address automatically, so it will obtain IP address through DHCP server. So we'll see it practically. So go to this network and network internet settings. In my case I am using the Wi-Fi network, so I have selected Wi-Fi. Then go to the network and sharing center, then go to the Wi-Fi, then go to the properties, select IPv4 because I am assigning the IPv4 address, then go to the properties. So it shows the current static address. If I select obtain an IP address automatically and apply it, then we will check which IP address is assigned by DHCP server. So again we will check it to the command prompt. So ipconfig. So now the IP address assigned to my machine is 192.168.114. Last time we assigned statistically 192.168.43.115 instead of 114, and subnet mask is same because it based on the class of the IP address, and default gateway is also same. So in this way we can assign IP address statistically or dynamically to a host. So next topic is IPv4 address ranges. IPv4 contains 4 octets which varies between zeros and ones. Each octet contains 8 bits which contain 256 combinations. So if all the are zeros in a octet, then it's represent the zero. If only one is 1, then it is 1. Further, if we put all zeros like in that way, 0 0 0 0 0 1 1, then it represent 3. In this way, if all we keep as a 1, then and convert it from binary to decimal, then it represent the 255 values. So in this way, total 0 to 255, so there are total 256 combinations are there. Also IP address ranges from 000 to 255 255.255.255 in a decimal format. So IPv4 address classification. IP addresses are divided into the 5 classes. Class A, which ranges from 0 to 127. Class B, which ranges from 128 to 128 to 191. Class C, which ranges from 192 to 223. All these 3 classes are used for LAN and WAN networks. There are also another 2 classes, Class D, which ranges from 224 to 239, and Class E from 240 to 255. Class D is reserved for multicasting purposes, and Class E is reserved for the RNT purposes. So these 2 classes we are not using for the general purposes, and we cannot allocate these IPs to a network or the host machines. And what this represent? Generally this represent the first octet of an IP address. So for example, in a class A, the IP address is started from 0 to 127, means any IP address which having value for first octet having value from 0 to 127, then it represent the class A. For example, an IP address 122.1.1.1 is a class A IP address. Another one is 126.1.1.1 is also a class A IP address. So from 0 to 127 is the first digit, and then next three digits may be ranges from 0 to 255, then it is a class A address. Similar way, uh, it is applicable for class B and class C IP addresses. And then this 224 to 239 we cannot apply for the network or the host part. We will see it through some examples. So it gives error if we allocate any IP address which is ranges from 224 to 255. So we will see it practically. So I'm going to my network settings. Then as I'm using the Wi-Fi, then network and sharing center, then I'm going to the Wi-Fi, then this properties. Currently I'm using IPV4 address, so selected IPV4 address and properties. If we trying to assign IP address statistically from ranges 224, then we are not able to assign this IP address. It gives error, and it gives error that 224 is not a valid entry. Please specify the value between 1 to 223. So we are able to assign the IP address from 1 to 223 and not from 224 to 223, because 224 is a class D IP address. Similarly, 240 is a class E IP address which is used for the R&D purposes. So we are not able to use these two IP addresses for the general purposes.